Good morning students. In this video we will discuss about another functional aspect of ecosystem, that is energy flow. This is the another functional aspect of ecosystem. So energy flow, generally ecosystems, any ecosystems they requires constant input of energy, as every component of ecosystem they are regularly dissipating energy. That's why ecosystems require a constant input of energy. Here the flow of energy is controlled by first two laws of thermodynamics. According to first law, energy is transferred as well as transformed, and it is not created. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. And according to first law, energy is transferred as well as transformed, and it is neither created nor destroyed. And according to second law, every activity which is involving energy transfer is accompanied by dissipation of energy. It is accompanied by dissipation of energy. So large amount of energy is lost during the energy flow while energy transferred from one level to another level, except deep hydrothermal ecosystems. In all ecosystems, every activity which is involving energy transfer, it is accompanied by dissipation of energy. And here the incident solar radiation usually present in the form of PAR, photosynthetically active radiation. The full form of PAR, photosynthetically active radiation. The source of energy is solar radiation or sun. Sun is the source of energy in all ecosystems. And here, so when incident solar radiation coming into Earth, and that must, and 50% of energy usually present in the form of PAR, incident solar energy means the energy comes from sun, that is known as incident solar energy. If you take incident solar energy, then 1 to 2%, or if you take photosynthetically active radiation, then 2 to 10% of energy usually consumed by producers for the process of photosynthesis. Usually producers make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. So for photosynthesis, plants or producers absorb 2 to 10% of PAR or 1 to 2% of incident solar radiation. Here energy does not remain trapped permanently in any organisms. It is transferred as well as transformed, but it does not trap permanently in any organisms. And sun is already I told you, sun is the source of energy in all ecosystems. And this incident solar radiation, if you take a flow diagram, then this is the incident solar radiation. So incident solar radiation is the 100%. The sun produces 100% of energy. And out of 100% energy, the 50% energy present in the form of photosynthetically active radiation. And remaining 50% of energy, usually it is absorbed. And this remaining 50% energy is absorbed by water and gases. Or sometimes it is reflected by clouds. And out of 50% and some percent of energy it is used in photosynthesis, and producers make their gross primary product. Gross primary productivity converted into net primary productivity. So out of this, 1 to 5% of gross primary productivity present in producers. And gross primary productivity, already I told, gross primary productivity is lost in, usually losses in respiration. So through respiration some amount of energy is lost. So the lost energy during respiration, that is 0.22 or 1% of energy is transferred during lost during respiration. And net primary productivity is 0.82, 4% of net primary productivity present in consumers. So 50% of energy out of 100% of incident solar radiation present in the form of photosynthetically active radiation. So this out of 50%, 2 to 10% of energy is consumed by producers and make their gross primary productivity. So 1 to 5% of gross primary productivity present in producers, and some amount of energy lost. Already I told, according to second law, the activity which is involved in energy transfer, they are dissipating energy. So some energy is dissipated. That how much of energy they dissipated? 0.2 to 1%, and remaining percent of energy it is stored in the form of net primary productivity. So if you take incident solar energy, then 1 to 2% is observed by producers. If you take photosynthetically active radiation, then 2 to 10% of energy is utilized by producers. Now we will discuss energy flow in ecosystems. Energy flow in ecosystem. So energy flow is always unidirectional. Energy flow is always unidirectional, or it is in one way. It is in one way. That is, from solar radiations, the energy from solar radiations absorbed by producers, and producers, they make their GPP, gross primary productivity, then enter into food chain. So from producer to herbivores, from herbivores to carnivores, so carnivores to decomposers. So this is the flow of energy. So flow of energy is always unidirectional. That is solar radiation to sun to producers, producers to herbivores, herbivores to carnivores, and finally it is again entered into decomposers, and decomposers to again solar radiations. And it cannot pass in reverse direction. Energy does not transfer, or it does not transfer in reverse direction. And there is decrease in the content of energy. There is decrease in content of energy and energy flow when energy transferred from one level to another level. When energy transferred from solar radiation to producers, here some amount of energy is lost during respiration or during heat and whatever is the form, but some amount of energy is always lost. So there is decrease in the content of energy while energy move from one trophic level to another trophic level. Here, for example, a part of energy is captured by producers and make their gross primary productivity, and this gross primary productivity is utilized for its body building, and some amount of energy is also used as food to herbivores. A part of energy is consumed by producers and use its maintenance, and some part of food is used as food to herbivores. That means herbivores obtain only 10% of gross primary productivity of producers for its bodybuilding, and the remaining net primary productivity of producers is either consumed by humans or it is entered into detritus. It is clear? For example, if a part of energy is utilized by producers and make their GPP, gross primary productivity, and this gross primary productivity of producers utilized by its bodybuilding, and some amount of producers they use this food to herbivores, and the remaining net primary productivity of producers is either utilized by humans or it is entered into directly detritus after their natural death. and only 10% of gross primary productivity of producers utilized by herbivores for its bodybuilding. Then herbivores are eaten by, these herbivores are eaten by primary carnivores. Primary carnivores. And some of the herbivores which are not eaten by primary carnivores, then they are again enter into detritus, or they are again used as food by decomposers. That means here also primary carnivores are also able to obtain 10% of productivity of herbivores for raising the body building of primary carnivores, and the remaining net primary productivity of herbivores are directly entry into detritus food chain, or it is consumed by decomposers. Means year to year, and year to year also only 10% of energy is transferred, and mostly nearly 90% of energy is lost during respiration or any other waste. So here the only 10% of productivity is used by primary carnivores for its bodybuilding, and the remaining is entered into detritus, or it is used as food by decomposers. Here the top carnivores are also able to retain only 10% of productivity of primary carnivores for their bodybuilding, and the remaining is again enter into decomposers. That means this only 10% of energy transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, from producer to herbivores, and herbivores to primary carnivores, and primary carnivores to top carnivores. Only 10% of energy transferred from one level to another level, and this 10% of energy becomes its 100% of its bodybuilding. From year to year only 10%, year to year only 10%. So this is called, and this transfer of energy is called 10% law. The 10% law is proposed by Lindemann. 10% law means from this is one trophic level and this is one trophic level, and carnivores have 2 to 3 trophic levels. From one trophic level to another trophic level, only 10% of energy is transferred, and this transfer of 10% energy from one trophic level to another trophic level is known as 10% law, which was proposed by Lindemann. Here nearly 90% of energy is lost while energy transferred from one level to another level. For example, producers are autotrophic organisms. For example, they make their own food through the process of photosynthesis, and they contain 1000 kilocalories of energy. And when energy transferred from producer to herbivores, only 10% of energy transferred, only 10% of GPP of producers enter into herbivores. That means herbivores retain only 100 kilocalories. From herbivores to primary carnivores. From herbivores to primary carnivores, only 10 kilocalories. And from secondary carnivores, from primary carnivores to 10 carnivores, only 1 kilocalorie of energy transfer. So here, if you observe, then there is gradual reduction. There is reduction in available biomass in rising trophic level, and this is called 10% law. Only 10% of energy transferred from one level to another level, and remaining 90% energy is lost during respiration or grazing or browsing, and this is called 10% law and energy flow in ecosystem. If you observe NCERT textbook, there is a clear diagrammatic representation, then you can understand the amount of energy transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level. For example, this is the sun. So sun is the source of energy in all ecosystems. So it produces incident solar energy and present in photosynthetically active radiation. For example, this is producers, and from producers to these are, for example, this is one herbivore. From herbivore to, for example, if you take bird, this is carnivore, primary carnivore. If you take eagle, this is secondary carnivore. So here, when the energy transferred from producers to herbivores, so some amount of energy lost in the form of heat, and they are usually producers. And here also from herbivore to primary carnivore, also some amount of energy lost in the form of heat. This is herbivore. This is herbivore. Here also, when energy transferred from carnivore 1 to carnivore 1 and some amount of energy also lost in the form of heat. This is carnivore 1 and this is carnivore 2. And here decomposer organisms are there. Decomposers means they feed on dead decaying materials. And some amount of energy transferred from producers to herbivores. And some producers are not eaten by herbivores and they are entered into decomposers after their natural death. And here also some amount of energy lost in the form of heat. There also entered into, some herbivores are not eaten by primary carnivores, they are again entered into decomposers. They are decomposers. So here also some amount of heat, some amount of energy lost in the form of heat. Here also same. Here also, so some amount of primary carnivores are directly entered into decomposer chain, and here also some amount of energy lost in the form of heat. Here also, the carnivore 2 also, so when they are not eaten by any other organisms sometimes, and if they are after their natural death, they are again used by decomposers, and at that time also some amount of energy lost in the form of heat. Here only 10% of energy transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, and remaining energy is lost in the form of heat. It means only 10% energy transfer. So that is known as 10% law, and nearly 90% of energy lost in the form of heat or any other forms. So this is called energy flow in ecosystems. So here we should understand, so already many times I used the term trophic level. So now we should understand what is trophic level. So now we will discuss about trophic levels. Trophic levels. There is a schematic diagram. This one, producers T1, herbivores T2, carnivores T3, secondary carnivores T4, top carnivores T5, and all are consumed by decomposers, and they are T6. So they are connected, all these organisms are connected to decomposer organisms, like that. So these are the different trophic levels. So what is trophic level? What is trophic level? Trophic level is a step. Trophic level is a step or division of food. It is a step or division of food which is characterized by obtaining its food. How they obtain food? So it depends on their trophic levels. So trophic level is a step or division of food which is characterized by obtaining its food. And number of trophic levels. Herbivores have different trophic levels. So producers have different trophic levels. Herbivores have different trophic levels. And number of trophic levels. Number of trophic levels equals to number of steps. Number of steps in food chain. So number of trophic levels directly proportional to number of steps in food chain. If food chain has 3 steps, then trophic levels are also 3. If your food chain has 4 steps, then trophic levels are also 4. And the two fundamental trophic levels are producers and consumers. All they are consumers. Herbivores, carnivores, secondary carnivores, and all these carnivores are under consumers. They are under consumers. So the two important trophic levels are producers and consumers. And the basic similarity in all these trophic levels is the small amount of energy used by its bodybuilding, and the major part of energy is lost in the form of heat or in any other form. And here, so different organisms occupy different trophic levels. The first one is producers. And usually, we all know about producers. Producers are autotrophic organisms. They make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. For that purpose, producers they possess chlorophyll. Due to presence of chlorophyll, they make to their own food. And producers usually occupies trophic level 1, or it is also written as T1, trophic level 1. Producers occupy first trophic level or T1. They are autotrophic organisms. Next, all they are consumers. So consumers are heterotrophic organisms. Consumers are heterotrophic organisms. They cannot make their food. They obtain ready-made food from producers. Ready-made organic food from producers. And consumers are again classified into 3 types. Consumers are classified into 3 types: herbivores, carnivores, and decomposers. Herbivores occupy second trophic level, or they are first order consumers. So they are consumers. This is the herbivore is the first order consumers, and they occupy second trophic level. And carnivores. So carnivores they feed on herbivores, and carnivores have 2 to 3 groups: and primary carnivores, secondary carnivores, and top carnivores. Primary carnivores occupy third trophic level, and secondary carnivores occupy 4th trophic level, and top carnivores occupies 5th trophic level. And the decomposer organisms, usually they feed on dead decaying matter, and they occupy detritus trophic level or T6 trophic level, 6th trophic level. So trophic level 1 occupies producers, trophic level 2 occupied by herbivores, trophic level 3 occupied by primary carnivores, trophic level 4 occupied by secondary carnivores, trophic level 5 occupied by tertiary or top carnivores, and trophic level 6 occupied by decomposers. Here parasites they do not have any fixed trophic levels, since they feed on all these trophic levels. So these are the various trophic levels. What is trophic level? It is a step or division of food which is characterized by obtaining its food. So if you observe the diagram, this is primary producers. Primary producers act as a food for primary consumers. Primary consumers act as a food for secondary consumers, and they act as food for tertiary consumers. So primary consumers usually they occupy first trophic level. So first trophic level usually occupied by producers, and their primary consumers are secondary trophic level. Usually they are herbivores, and their third trophic level usually occupied by carnivores, and their fourth trophic level usually occupied by top carnivores. And usually producers are trees, grass, and phytoplanktons. Here zooplanktons under herbivores, and if you take cows are also herbivores. Here birds, some of the examples: birds and fishes. Here man and lion. So these are the different consumer levels and different trophic levels, and some of the organisms which are belongs to which are belongs to different or according to their trophic levels. Here a species, a group of species belongs to same trophic level. A group of species belongs to same trophic level which exploit the same or similar resource bases in similar pattern, that is known as guild. So what is guild? It is a group of species. A group of species belongs to same trophic level. They exploit similar resource bases. Similar resource bases in same pattern is known as guild. For example, nectar feeding birds. So nectar feeding insects. So all insects they feed nectar in same way and they exploit the base source. So this process is known as guild. So trophic level is a functional level. Neither trophic level nor guild is occupied by single species. They are operated by many species. Means trophic level means group of organisms present in same level, that is trophic level. That's why a single species may not or does not operate guild, or guild also possesses a number of species. So a single species does not and cannot operate trophic level or guild. And sometimes a single species may occupy two trophic levels. For example, one example is a sparrow. And sparrow usually it is feed on, sometimes it is feed on grass. When it is feed on grass, then it is considered as first order consumer. And sometimes it is feed on insects and worms. When it is feed on insects and worms, then it is regarded as second order consumers. So sometimes a single species occupies more than one trophic levels. So these are the different or various types of trophic levels.